If you want to really see the nature of success on the material plane, then the heart represents the cutting edge today. Number 31, or gene key number 31, the gift of leadership, the shadow of arrogance, and the CD of humility. My wisdom story. My father and his father preserved the peaceful traditions of my people, stayed close to the land, and led through their presence, not their words. But when I was young, I was kidnapped by the state and forced into boarding school run by the church. They taught me that people were heathens and that our way of life was no good. Over time, my spirit broke. I deferred my power to the teachers and eventually forgot the ways of my people. I thought, spoke, and acted like the white man. Years later, when I returned to my village, I looked upon my people scornfully and with pity. I arrogantly believed that if they wanted to survive and put an end to their suffering, they needed to drop the old ways and join the rest of the world. I addressed my people, infusing my speech with feigned humility and native phrases. I spun a tale of future promise and prosperity, if only they would follow me. As I spoke, I felt confident and special. My father and grandfather just sat in silence. When it came time for my people to follow me out of the reservation and into the future, no one moved. Instead, they looked to my father and grandfather for guidance. Two men who had no interest in arguing or imposing their agenda on anyone. As my grandfather spoke on behalf of the community in simple yet potent words, I was hit by a deluge of pain and humility. I hadn't scratched the surface of my people's reality or my own suffering. Why on earth would they want to follow me? I went on to spend years listening to and recording the stories of my people. The elders, the people who had also been torn from their homes and put in boarding schools, the women, the children. It wasn't until many years later, long after I had given up on wanting to be a leader, that I found myself sharing these stories in a way that moved the hearts of the white man and inspired my people to participate in their own liberation. My gift to you. I come to free you from your own conditioning and to make you aware of just how much you still care about what others think. Be honest with yourself. Where and with whom are you being arrogant? How are you still spinning the truth in order to be admired, respected, or to gain more power? It is through wisening up to these tendencies, no matter how subtle, that your true capacity for leadership is born. It is time to recognize the limitations of your own intellect. True leadership does not require a superior mind or the recognition that you are a leader. It doesn't require that you always know what you're going to say. It is not even about finding and projecting your own voice. It is about listening deeply to others and using your voice to represent theirs. No matter what you do, whether you are speaking, writing, or creating, do it with humility and heart. 555 coming in. Questions for contemplation. Do you ever put yourself down to avoid seeming arrogant? Do you ever defer your power to others? Do you ever find yourself being arrogant? In what situations? What feelings are underneath the arrogance? In what areas of life are you a leader? Have you ever been able to represent others by listening deeply and giving them a voice? Do you lead in the spirit of humility and service? Think of a leader in your life or in the world for whom you have great respect. What qualities do you most appreciate in this leader? What is one thing you can do today to be more like this person? Very deep contemplations for us to consider not just how we can create our visions and manifest our visions and lead, but how do we then do that with a cap of humility, not just giving ourselves a voice, but being a voice for others. If you want to really see the nature of success on the material plane, then the heart represents the cutting edge today. That quote is by Richard Rudd. Gene key number 31. Have a beautiful week of humble leadership. Thor is a fifth dimensional energy. And the energy is of rapid transition and transformation. But as this rapid transition and rapid transformation happens, the message is to relax because we are safe. Thor represents thunder. It represents the planet Mars. It represents fire. And it also represents, and I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this properly, Nigele, which is the ascended aspect of Mars, which was very interesting. And when we think of Mars, we think of war, the planet of war, right? The god of war, Aries. But the ascended aspect of that war is Nigele. And Nigele is a peaceful, spiritual warrior. So in this energy of leadership and Aries and Mars, number 1, right? The god of war, head of the zodiac, the leader. It's interesting how this card comes in and speaks to the transformation and evolution. And that now we need to transform, and that we're in this rapid transformation energy, and we tie it into leadership. And perhaps it's a time now that we start looking for the peaceful spiritual warriors as our new leaders. That we also look at the work that we have done, feeling secure and worthy for the new opportunities that will come through these rapid transitions and transformations and changes. This is a card of safe passage. What comes to mind was, that saying, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil. To feel safe as we, again, look at the world around us, but knowing that, hey, I'm grounded and I am supported. So I don't have to fight. I don't have to be the scattered warrior. I can be a peaceful, humble, spiritual warrior in my leadership style that is dedicated and brings love and wisdom to all. So this Thor energy helps us to consume the density within ourselves and to rise above it to be better leaders. It is also a call to service. And as we serve, we must think of, whom am I speaking for? Who does my service, or what does my service give a voice to? I think that's so important for us to ask ourselves, as well as, again, as we choose our new leaders. Because remember, we are in a time of change and transition and transformation. And with that, as we change and develop ourselves and transform ourselves, I think our leadership is reflected in that change. And I think while we see so much chaos now, especially in the political and corporate arenas, is because we are really experiencing that shift and change of leadership, because we're experiencing a shift and a change of humanity. So what used to work will not work anymore. And we must allow this transition and this transformation and this breaking down to rise up and something new to be born from it all. And the leadership is very, very important for us to really grasp as we move through this new phase. Whom are our leaders? And how do we lead ourselves and our families and our communities and our nations, not just in the political way, but in a spiritually grounded and community-based and humble way? So the spiritual warrior comes into play, number 37. And its message is to show you are a wise leader. Command the universe. It is such a synchronistic and powerful message. And, it's the perfect companion to this Gene Key 31 of the gift of leadership. And leadership really, truly is a gift. Let's go back to Richard's phrase. If you want to really see the nature of success on the material plane, then the heart represents the cutting edge today. The gift of leadership. the shadow of arrogance, and the CD of humility, right? So leadership is the gift. Some characteristics of a wise leader. We see strength. We see courage. We see wisdom. A leader is somebody who is there to protect the weak and the vulnerable. And in this protection comes the empowerment. So the leader doesn't just want to shelter, but as they are protecting, they are also empowering. A leader is honest. A leader is honorable. A leader can be trusted. A leader shows loyalty. And a leader is emotionally mature, that being balanced within masculine and feminine energies. A leader has the combination of gentleness balanced with decisiveness, compassion with firmness, and serenity with action. A leader shows authority, charisma, grace, and most importantly, in my mind, a leader empowers others to do their best. Spiritual warriors are within us all, so we must prepare ourselves for the opportunities that God and the universe will bring to us for us to show up as those spiritual warriors in leadership. And number 37, the spiritual warrior unicorn really wants to remind you to be firm, to know what you want, to know where you are going, and to stand up and to command the forces of the universe to align behind your intentions. Because the spiritual warrior knows that they are a force of good, and God and the universe will support you. This is the message of the week. Go out and be wise, humble, balanced leaders, and give a voice to somebody whom you serve. Have a beautiful, beautiful week. Be a good leader. And as I contemplate and breathe with these keys, there's always maybe a little poem or prayer that comes out and that I'd like to share. And this is what I wrote yesterday. I said, as we walk our paths, may we all seek and find opportunities we are called to be not just a leader, but to do so with humility and compassion. May we all face the arrogance within ourselves and see the spirit of arrogance in others. As we encounter it, may we cancel it and lay it to rest. As we project it, may we repent and forgive ourselves, decreasing the spirit of greed that is attempting to capture all of our holy hearts and minds.